This week's story is Lost and Found by Oliver Jeffers. And it's all about a penguin. Once there was a boy, and one day he found a penguin at his door. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So, the boy decided to help the penguin find his way home. He checked the Lost and Found office, but no one was looking for a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from, but they ignored him. Some birds are just like that. The boy asked his duck, but the duck floated away. He didn't know. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but he didn't know how. The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get him there? He ran down to the harbour and he asked a big ship to take him to the South Pole, but his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's big horn. So, together, he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. The boy took out his rowboat out of the cupboard and they tested it for size and for strength. And they packed everything they would need in a suitcase. And together they pushed the boat out to sea. They rowed south for many days and nights with the boy telling stories all the way. The penguin listened to everything that the boy had said. They floated through the good weather and the bad, when the waves were as big as mountains, until they came to the South Pole. And the boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly it looked sad again as the boy helped it out of the boat. The boy said goodbye to the penguin and he floated away. But as he looked back, the penguin looked sadder than ever. And it felt really strange to be all on his own. And the more he thought, the more he realised he was making a big mistake. The penguin wasn't lost, he was lonely. Quickly, he turned the boat around and headed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. Can you see just beyond there? The penguin has got into his little umbrella and he's going the other way. At last he reached the pole again, but where was the penguin? The boy, he searched and he searched and he searched, but he was nowhere to be found. And sadly, the boy set off for home, and there was no point telling any stories because there was no one to listen to them except the wind and the waves. But then the boy saw something in the water ahead of him. Closer and closer he got until he could see a penguin. Look, they had a hug, they were happy. And so the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way home.